8. And in lieu of our Italiana trip, that's how you say it. 8 in Italian is otto.
She did not just look that up on Google.
Nope. Knew it my whole life. It was my first word. My mom told me that. Actually, my mom doesn't even know the first. I asked her so many times, like, what was my first word that ever came out of my mouth? She was like, I don't know. I was like, you're lying. She's like, I don't know. Do you know yours?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I think my mom knows. But I actually also think she does that. Like, I think it was this. No, but it could have been this. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've asked or thought about it.
I will just say that my first word was ball because ball is life. Speaking about ball is life, I have to give a quick shout out. Katie Grice played basketball at Oregon the same time that I was there. She was a year older than me. And then I definitely got my first head coaching job with volleyball because of her. So she was working as the associate head coach at Southern Utah on the basketball side. And so when things got turned upside down at Southern Utah, and she texted me a week before season started to come be our head coach. At first I said, LOL, no. We all know how that story ends, and I ended up being there, but it was definitely because of Katie, and she's like an incredible saleswoman. But anyway, she ended up meeting Flynn, who was the associate head coach on the basketball side on the men's basketball side at Southern Utah, and they actually didn't give him the job at Southern Utah when their head coach left, which is a great life lesson because God can just be redirecting your path and like better things are coming up. And so actually it was such a blessing that he didn't get this job at Southern Utah as the head coach, because then he went to High Point, and I think he was there for 2 years as the associate. The head coach, I think, went to Creighton. He took over as the head coach for this season. And not only did they go to the NCAA tournament, but they beat Wisconsin, a 12 seed, upset a 5 seed, which for our non-athletic knowledge people, that's like a 20 seed losing to a 48 seed, which is also a really big deal. And did I do that math right?
I don't know.
College basketball. Anyway, so it's really hard for a mid-major, that's what they call it on the smaller side, to get to the round of 32 because you're beating some good teams, and it was just a really exciting game. And then they went to go play Arkansas, and that was a 4 seed, and everyone thought they were going to get blown out, and it was just neck and neck the entire game until the last 2 minutes, maybe even 1 minute, and they just played really well. And it's just really fun because that was Flynn's first season, and I love March Madness, and so it was just like really great. So ball is life.
Ball is life. My bracket is in tatters.
You have a bracket. I've already loved you, but wow, I love you so much.
Yeah, we do it every year.
Who's we?
My family.
Oh. Who do you have winning it all? No, like, I just didn't think about it. I was thinking like friends or something.
Our team did it this year too, but I didn't participate in that one because I didn't feel like making a whole nother bracket.
So you have one.
Yeah, and I have watched 0 basketball games this year, and
So it was just kind of like a throw it up in the air
Mhm.
and see what sticks.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you
I
remember
didn't
who
even
you
know
had
how my
winning?
bracket was. Yeah, Florida.
Dang, then you're screwed.
I know.
Yeah, it's another crazy thing. And
Yeah,
did you know this about Florida? I don't think you knew this. I need to tell
they
you.
won.
Yeah, not that though. When I was at USF coaching volleyball, the head coach of USF basketball was Todd Golden, who's the head coach at Florida.
Nice.
And so it was really crazy because he like went into USF and changed that program really fast.
Mm.
And I was super impressed, like very, very impressed. They won a national championship. And I want to say that was his second year last year. It may have been 3, but that's still insane. And then the men's basketball strength coach was our strength coach there, and his name is Victor, and he's a really cool dude. So I'm always a fan of Florida basketball for that reason. I had them winning in one of my brackets, and yeah, I'm super shocked. I didn't watch much of their game, many of their games this year, so I don't really know if there was injuries or anything, but that was a big shock, a 1 seed losing to a 9, right? Because that was Iowa, so.
I didn't even know who they lost to. That's how much I paid attention since I made the bracket.
You made it, see, that's why I was my exclamation of telling you how much I love you, I retract that a little bit because you really don't even, the fact you made
I have
it.
in past years, but like I could care less about college basketball. I really could.
Well, college basketball told me I could care less about you, so.
And that's okay. That is okay.
I'm just kidding.
This week, I learned, you're gonna laugh at me because because it sounds really silly, but I learned that I can actually tailor clothes that are already made. So, like, my teammate had a corset. I know, listen, I know. She had a corset, and I was like, if you've ever, okay, making a corset is like one of the hardest things you can make. So she comes to me and she's like, I have a corset. It fits, but like I have to like squeeze into it. She's like, do you think there's any way we can add like a little bit of, I know, it's not one
Wow.
that
No,
you
that
like,
seems hard to add
y-
material.
yeah. And so I'm like looking, I was like, Hattie, this is like not a quick project. I'm gonna have to take the whole thing apart. Like this is like a couple days worth of time just because it's starting over. She's like, that's okay. I think we can figure it out. You're crazy, but okay. I kept like low key like trying to give her hints like, yeah, you should like go pick that up and because she like has sewn before, but she like does more hand sewing, she said. I was like, yeah, you should try to do this and try to do this. And then if you need help, you can come over and I can help you. And I was like, you try, you try. And then we talked about it some more. And next thing I know, she's like, okay, well, if we have time today on our off day, she's like, me and then my other teammate, Ramat, we both sew. She's like, maybe you guys can help me. And we're like, okay. So she comes over today after we get back from lunch, brings this corset over. She's found, so she's done like some of the legwork. She's found good fabric, like as close of a match as she can find, like gotten some thread and other stuff, whatever. And I just like am holding this corset and I'm like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't know what seams to rip. I don't know. Like nothing is giving, like, I don't know. I probably sat there for like 3 minutes and we texted our other teammate Vermont. We're like, please come over. We need help. And she's like, okay, on my way. And as soon as we sent that, I like ripped a seam and I was like, oh, I found it. We're in. So we like found this opening, turned it inside out. And then Vermont got over, took some measurements and we just kind of went for it. And then I sewed it together and it did not look half bad. I think it would have been a lot better if we had like had the time to go like actually search out perfect matching fabric, but turned out pretty good. I don't know. I don't want to do that often because I hated every minute of it, but it only took like 45 minutes. What did you
Um,
learn this week?
I forget who I was talking to, but they were like, instead of Googling things, I'm not sure if I told you this, like instead of Googling things, just have a conversation with them about it. And
This
that's
was
been
on our
my,
first episode, just so you
okay.
know.
Yeah, yeah, okay, got it. You have such a good memory. And that's just still been my thing is I just don't Google it. And it's definitely come back to bite me sometimes because I've said it. And then people are like, that's not true. And I was like, well, I heard it.
So and so said it, so I
Yeah, someone else
argument.
said it, so it must be true. So someone told me, I don't know if it's true or not, after looking it up on Google. Someone else can confirm or deny if this is true. Once two people say it, it's
Yeah,
100% true. That Maine is mostly built on granite rock, and so it's really tough to create plumbing. And so there's so many outhouses instead of having normal toilets in Maine. They're
interesting.
outhouses. And I've never been to Maine,
Me either. It's on the bucket
so I
list.
wouldn't know. Is it really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Why?
Just because it's one of those like I feel like anytime I see a picture of Maine, it's beautiful and it just somewhere that I would like to go for. There's no like particular spot or location. It's just that far east and north, and never been in that part of the country.
Yeah, I heard fall's really cool. You're gonna die at this story about Maine. Was prank calling a big deal when you were a kid?
Yes, Star 67.
Sorry. I was like,
Star
oh my
67.
gosh. For those of you who don't know, in order to block your phone number, I wonder if this is still a thing. I bet you it is. In order to block your
I
phone
know.
number, you push star 67 and then dial the number that you're calling, and then it comes up as no caller ID. Yeah, you nailed it, which is super sketch, but I love that you knew this. So, two things about prank calling. Number one, Maine will come in full circle. My brother was, this is like where we bonded the most was prank calling. When he
Love
felt
that.
like it, like once a year, and I knew it was a special day. And we would pull out the phone book and call random businesses. So like one of the stories was he called a pizza place where we lived in Yuma, Arizona, and was like asking them to deliver a pizza. And of course they're like, yeah, of course. My brother's like, well, they're like, where do you live? I'm like, he's like, I don't really have an address. And the guy's like, okay. And he's like, so right behind your guys' business, there's an alley. And when you walk about 20 feet into that alley, you're going to see a cardboard box. And that's where I live in the cardboard box. And I got to give this guy credit because, meaning my brother, because when we did this, I think we were like 13, 14 years old. Like I am not even that creative 16 years later. He's
Boys have a different
so
mind, you know?
creative. Yeah. There's another really funny story about him too. So I'll just finish with the main story. I'm with my cousin, we're trying to prank calls. And I'll be sexist here. I think men and boys are way better at prank calling and way funnier than females are.
They don't care if they hurt your feelings or like cause you distress. Girls start to get invested and they're like, oh, now I feel mean.
Very true. So I don't even know how we found it out. Maybe Google existed at the time, but we found out we dialed this random number with a Maine area code because at the time we were in San Diego and we were like, that is the furthest part of the United States away from us. And so we just like the first number we called, dialed it. Some lady answered and we're like, hi, are you in Maine? And she was so concerned, and yes. And then she was like, how did you get this number? And then we panicked and then hung up. Speaking
found someone in witness protection, someone trying to hide.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Why do you have my information?
Can you imagine?
No.
She still talks about it to this day. With girls and boys, they just are so different. When I think about Maine, besides learning that outhouses are mainly a thing, I just think that's so fascinating because I think we take plumbing and clean bathrooms for granted in public all the time. And I know it's different in other countries. Like from what I know, you have to pay for different places, and in America, it's pretty standard.
Yeah, when you go overseas, it's not everywhere, and I don't know when and why, like where it's decided that you pay for it and you don't. But yeah, you're paying to use the toilet, and half the time when you're paying, it's like the most disgusting bathroom you've ever seen. It's like, if I'm paying for this, shouldn't it be like spotless? Like, what is this money going to? And it's just like some random person sitting on a chair outside. That's not always the case, but I have never been more sketched out in my life than when I was trying to get on a train in Budapest to go back to Kaposvár where I was playing. And I had gotten to the train station early and I was trying to find a bathroom. And so I went to the bathroom and there's just some guy sitting on a chair, like collecting change. And I'm like, I feel like I'm about to get murdered or kidnapped, but I like had to pee before this 2-hour train ride. And it was disgusting. I'm like, give me my money back. This was such a waste.
I'm gonna get murdered. I'm paying for them to kill me.
Literally. That's what it felt like.
That's good.
But I'm here, so I made it.
Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
And then you go to places like Taiwan and you get to use a squatty potty, just a hole in the floor. Squat down and go to the bathroom.
In public places or where you lived?
In my house, I stayed in a hotel. So in my hotel, I had a toilet, but I'm sure some people's houses, but like in public places, like at the gyms where we would go play games, pre-game poop, squatty potty.
I cannot do this.
Horrible.
Why have you never told me about this miserable experience that you've had?
Because it's blocked out.
Until now.
Because it's awful. Trying to squat down, knee pads on, spandex on, pull onto the handrails.
No one's going to look at you the same. There's a mental image that's not going to be able to get out of anyone's head.
You're welcome.
Because I pictured it. He looked like a baby giraffe trying to drop the kids off at the pool. That's another thing. There's like no great way to talk about poop. And also, I think that's another thing about guys and girls. Guys talk about it all the time, and girls never talk about it. Like, I think that's maybe the first or second time we've ever talked about it in our years and years of relationship.
Because, like, why? Why do we need to talk about it? Unless you have like an upset stomach and you're like sick and dying, like, I don't really care.
Even then, I still don't even tell people about that. I'm just like, I didn't feel good.
Yeah. And you can make your own conclusions from that.
Sorry, I was just thinking about, like, for some reason saying diarrhea with an Italian accent. Diarrhea! I don't even know how you would say it. Diarrhea! Kind of sounds like a type of pizza.
Some Parmesan, please. Yikes. That's gross.
Yeah, so it wasn't that cool what I learned, but I was just flabbergasted that Maine did not have, like, the United States typically, like, and also Maine in my mind is like pretty rich. Like, I bet you some classy people live in Maine.
Yeah, it just seems like an expensive place.
Yeah, so let's get it together out there.
Let's dig through that granite. Pay a little extra.
Exactly. But I was thinking about asking you, and this is a interesting topic of conversation that's probably really polarizing. Have you ever seen the show Age of Attraction on Netflix? Have you heard of it? I've
heard of it.
Why did you roll your eyes?
Why is there another effing dating show, reality show? It's just, they're clearly not working.
I mean, for like everyone except for one couple per season.
You want to know how good I was at guessing the ages of people? I was like, this is the worst idea ever because I can guess the ages. Like,
Yeah.
what? Morgan, my roommate, is watching it. So I walked down. She's like, guess what the age difference is between these two. And I sat there and looked at them, guessed their ages. She was like,
Yeah.
wow, you're like a year off. I was like, this isn't hard.
Yeah.
It's a waste of a theme of a show.
You're right. Except for I was really surprised at the guy who's the defense attorney, the lawyer who was 60, and she was
I haven't watched enough that I know. I don't know.
okay.
I only know like one couple.
Yeah. And she's 27. That's wild. So anyway, I just wanted to hear.
And he was what, 60, you
Yeah,
said?
overall thoughts with age differences. And then even like what is an age difference? You know, like is 10 years an age difference? Is obviously totally depends on your age, but
Are you asking what's acceptable or just like,
just any thoughts that you have.
I think after 18, don't really care.
Anything goes. 18 plus a 75-year-old. Gucci.
You know, it looks a little funny and we're all like, are you just waiting around for money? But like, if you're in love, go right ahead.
Yeah. I definitely think that people can fall in love and it for sure could be real. I don't really have an opinion on this because I'm that person that I just like don't judge people and don't have an opinion. The thing that I was thinking about was like how they each grew up.
Yeah.
Like one almost grew up without electricity. I mean, not that far. Just kidding. But like
Well,
the
yeah.
23-year-olds, cell phones have been existing almost your entire life as opposed to like someone in their 60s, cell phones came around when you were like maybe in your 40s, you know? And so like
Depends on like,
that's a very different upbringing.
yeah, it depends on what your priority is in that relationship. If the connection and the conversation is good and that's enough to get you through a relationship, great. But it's like, to me, a priority would be having someone to go through life with. And so it's like, if I'm going to be with someone who's that much older than me and like, they're not really going to be a partner in raising children if they're going to like be unable to like run around and like do things like, you know, like that's a priority to me that I want someone who's going to do that. But like, it just depends on what you're looking for. Like, do you want alone time? Do you want yourself, the two of you who have your own different hobbies and lives to be able to be very separate and then like come together every once in a while? Some people love that. I don't want to be that separate, but
Yeah. If you've had knee problems, can't date Berkeley. If your back's a hurting,
if you've had a hip replacement,
don't come a knocking. Yeah, priorities are definitely important. Do you think that something I've been trying to figure out is like, you know, top 3 priorities, which I've got them nailed down, but like it's really tough still to get some priorities. Do you think in the dating world, one, I think we both agree that's super important, is like know exactly what you're looking for. And if you find something else and you continue to talk to that person, like that's on you for making some sacrifices.
I think there's a caveat to that though, not like this picture perfect person that you're looking for. It's like the
Right.
morals and values or whatever. But
Right.
because if you have this idea of this the way someone looks and acts, and then someone else comes along who isn't that, but is all these other things that you're looking for, and you've pigeonholed yourself into a box of like, I know exactly what I want, but do you really know exactly what you want? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I think a lot of people live in that world where they think they know what they want and then they close themselves off to opportunities just because it wasn't what they pictured, you know?
Or like even people that I know that have dated, what they think, it proves your point, like what they think they want right now. It's like, is that going to really be important in 15 years from now? So anyway.
Which is so hard because I just think back to like, you know, going to college. Like I reflect on like the college recruiting process a lot of like being a kid and having to pick a school and like then having to know what you want to study and major in, and like if the school that you're going to has these interests, but it's like, how am I supposed to know what I want to do for the rest of my life at 15, 16, 17 years old? And it's like you just have to have some idea of the type of family you hope you want and are blessed with, you know, and the realities of those situations. And it has to come down to like, when you don't get the things that you're hoping for, is this partner going to be able to carry you through that and be supportive? And, or like, can you deal with them in the worst times as well as the best times? Because it's just like, are you going to be happy at a school that doesn't have these things that you love, but has all these other things that like, I don't have an example off the top of my head, but it's crazy. It's just like you go through so many of those in your life, picking like a college or school or, you know, job, career, and then partner and life and family. And how are you supposed to know 50 years down the road?
Yeah. A few people have said like date someone and start looking at them like your life depended on it, in the sense of like this person is if everything's hitting the fan and they're the only person that you can rely on to get you out of a sticky situation or protect you or Like,
That's what holds me up. That's scary.
what's that?
That I don't know if there's a lot of people that I've met that I'm like, if the worst thing I could have ever experienced in my life happened, would this person be able to get me through it? I don't know.
That's a
Because
really
we're struggling to get through conversations, you know, like,
we're struggling to
but when one of my parents dies, you're gonna be there and be able to get
Yeah.
me through that?
Exactly.
I don't know.
You can't even decide where you want to go to dinner.
Yeah.
It's really true. And I feel like I've wasted so much of my life not paying attention to things like that. Of just like, or people are like, oh, I just want fun. It's like, okay, well, that could definitely be an aspect, but life gets sometimes heavy. Like, yeah, you don't want it to be all the time for sure, but sometimes it's inevitable who that person is. And then even similar concept is like if you end up having kids and then your kids are exactly like them, are you happy about that? It's like, well,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense. So, yeah. So anyway, just going back to age, I don't think it's really that much of a factor, and I think it just depends on the emotional intelligence of people and where they're at. I guess maturity is another synonym for that. But I think the age of attraction, it's just a few episodes in, so I haven't seen it, but it's the same thing as like Love is Blind. Like I remember the first season being great because no one knew what it was, and then after that just everyone knew what it was, and so people just go on there to get famous. And it's like there's obviously a few people who you could tell are legit about it, which is really cool. Did you like this past season? I know that you guys were watching that
Of
too.
Love is Blind?
Yeah.
No, I hate every reality show. I hate everything about it.
You probably were not surprised about The Bachelorette being canceled then. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of Secret Lives of
Yeah,
Mormon
Mormon.
Wives, you know? Yeah, that's crazy.
I want to talk to you about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on the next episode.
Okay, we'll save it for that then.